One of the biggest costs for this journey of ours, which is self-sufficiency, is the cost of feeding our chicken, our poultry, ourselves. And also, you might have seen somewhere that we're also going to start a dairy goat farm, so feeding goats too. And so we always try to explore different ways of either reducing that cost of feeds by either growing the food ourselves or making the food ourselves locally. So the first step we did is to try and identify a place where we can grow maize, which is the biggest component, I think, in any of these feeds. Carbohydrates or starch is the biggest component, takes about 60% of the feeds. So we identified a place where we can grow maize, and then you can look for the other ingredients from different places.
Yeah, and we paid a visit to the place the day before today, so yesterday. And here is a recap of our visit to the place. And then after the visit, we are going to just discuss on matters leasing land. Are we going to continue leasing land? Are we going to continue using that land, or what next?
What's up, guys? Today we are in a very far place, like about 1 hour from our farm. It's a place where we've leased land, but hey, I'm going to tell you the story of how it has been. Where? Yeah? Let me tell you, these issues of land, they can give you heart attack. But anyway, we'll tell you, we'll give you our story, what's been going on, and yeah, we just came to check on whether our crops are doing well or whether the rains swept them away, or yeah. So right there the first place where we leased land. It's about 2 acres, but you can see there's nothing, and the reason why we didn't plant, you can see right next to it there's a lot of water, a lot of water. Yeah. So what actually happened is that we actually knew this area has issues with water, but for the land itself, we found that someone had planted maize the previous season, so water seemed not to be a very big issue on the farm. But outside the farm, there are a lot of channels of water. But so we did the first digging with the tractor. It was okay, and then the rains came, very heavy rains, and no tractor wanted to go back to that area. So that's why we didn't plant anything on that land. So that's about quite a lot of money that went down the drain, yeah, because the least amount and also the money that we used on the tractor to dig, yeah. But the owner was gracious enough, so we to give us for 2 seasons. So for the next season, we are not going to pay for it because of the issue that it had. So hopefully the next season we'll be able to plant on that land. So now we are walking to the other land that already has maize planted on it. We haven't seen the maize since it was planted, so that's where we are headed right now. Yeah, we're just walking. Let me just show you what the land looks like. This is what the land looks like. These are the channels of water, multiple channels of water. Yeah. So, the other guys that have leased land here, their maize is doing pretty okay. Yeah. So let's hope ours, ours we planted a little bit later, but we'll show you how it looks like. So we are still trying to find a way to access the land because everywhere is covered with water. Look at that. Yeah, everywhere is covered with water. These were the pathways before. Oh, so we finally found a way to access our land. it seems that the rains that have been raining have affected this area way too much. Yeah. So now we are walking to the farm. We'll show you how it looks like. Yeah, and this area is good in things like maize, sweet potatoes, and also peanuts. They are largely grown here, and a lot of people have leased land in this area because those things do very well, and guys have a big enormous land that they are not using. Yeah, so we are almost at our farm, our leased farm.
So we are finally at the farm. It took us a long way to get here because this land is huge. It must be over 30 acres. But what we have now would be slightly under an acre or maybe an acre. So you can see the boundary is this. The taller maize is not ours. That's the boundary. You can see ours is this short one. You can see there's a bit of issues. I don't know whether they are worms or what that have eaten the leaves. But generally the farm is okay. So I'll just walk around and show you maybe the boundaries. So you can see the size of the land. So you can see it's quite huge. I think it must be an acre. Must be like an acre. So it's quite a lot of maize. We hope you're going to harvest well. The thing is here is we've not used any fertilizer, any chemical fertilizer. Hopefully we're going to get some cow manure and put it here. But we're not using any commercial fertilizers. This is going to be the maize here is to feed our chicken mostly. Because as the numbers of our chicken grow, we need a lot of food, and buying commercial feeds is not sustainable at all. So yeah, that's our maize plantation.
Apart from that area where we've shown you the maize, there is this tiny area here up to these trees that you can see. So, so that's what I was telling you about trials and tribulations of leasing land. Anyway, the maize here that you've just seen here was supposed to be planted alongside sweet potatoes in the area where there's a lot of weeds. We already paid, but only the maize was planted, and the area where the sweet potatoes were meant to be planted, there's nothing. It's just weeds. So, and it's almost like 2 months to the end of the season when you're supposed 2 to 3 months. Okay. No, essentially after we harvest the maize, they are going to lease the shamba to the next person if we don't need it anymore. So I don't know what we'll do with this land where we have weeds. We'll go talk to the landowner, see why he didn't plant. Yeah, he's the one we had told to plant for us sweet potatoes. Don't make that mistake. So we'll just go talk to him, see why he didn't plant, and we are going to bargain with him and tell him we need to use this land to plant and see what he says. So I'll update you. So we caught up with one of our neighbors who's leased land to grow sweet potatoes. You can see how neat they are, and they expect to harvest in August. So if ours are planted now, we'll expect to harvest a month later, which would be September. Yeah. So let's see how what the landowner says. But we spoke to the guy, and we are going to plant sweet potatoes in that remaining area. Yeah, and we'll keep you updated on whether we are going to get a good harvest and how it goes.
So the place where we identified land was it's about an hour and a half from here, which is Migori County, and it's Kuria. It's basically Kuria. And why we identify that place is that people there have huge tracts of land. People have 20, 30 acres an individual. And there's a lot of people from this part who've gone there and either bought land or also leased land to farm. So we thought that would be a good start. Because at least there, it happens. People either lease land or buy land from them.
Yeah, and as you've seen in our video yesterday at the farm, we encountered a few challenges. So first of all, let me talk about the people in that area. The people in that area generally very friendly. They were very friendly to us the very first time we went there. And we got about 3 acres of land. We leased about 3 acres of land. But we had a few challenges here and there. And here are some of the challenges that we encountered.
Okay. Initially, no, the first challenge was actually where we leased the land. It is black cotton soil, which is very good for growing maize, by the way. But then the disadvantage is when it rains, it holds a lot of water. So the place where we leased, by the time you're going to start tilling the land, we actually tilled the first time with a tractor, and the tractor got stuck there for hours. I think for the 2 acres, the tractor spent there almost 7 hours. And then it rained again, so the water was fully waterlogged. And we tried to find tractors, but they say they can't go there again. They're going to get stuck there and waste a lot of time and fuel there. So we could not use the land at that moment.
Yeah, so you've seen the water challenges that we had from the video. Even, yeah, you remember the heavy rains that have been around all over Kenya. So even that area experienced very heavy rains. And even accessing land was a bit difficult. But as you've seen, we managed to get another piece of land from the same landowner. So he relocated us. So we were able to at least grow the maize on the 1 acre piece of land. And we are hoping to get some good harvest. It will help with feeding of our chicken, and of course ourselves will also feed on that.
Yeah, but even the issue on land, I think, was about our timing mostly.
Yeah.
Because basically timing, by the time we went to lease land was a little late, because the person who had leased the 4 acres next to us actually tilled on time the first time, and then there's a second time when you till, you break down the soil now properly, and then planted before the rains got serious. So by the time the rains were getting serious, he's already dug tilled his land, planted, and dug tunnels, so the water does not stay there. The tunnels that take the water out from the land. So he's doing perfect.
Yeah. So at the moment, it doesn't make economic sense for us to be just going there for that 1 acre. But since it's already there, the maize is already growing, we will go there to harvest. But in between, we'll not make a lot of visits to the place, just because if the maize was on the 3 acres, it would have made a lot of economic sense. But at the moment, not very much. So probably the next time we go there, we'll be going to harvest. So we've asked somebody to check on the land. They're going to be checking on the land. If there are any issues, they are going to be informing us on phone. Not the very best, because again, it's always good to be available when you're doing farming. Telephone farming sometimes is not the best, and we've talked about it before. But for this season, that's what we are going to do.
Yeah, even to put in perspective, it costs about 3,000 shillings to fuel to go back and forth.
Yeah.
So if you go there and if you spend that on maybe 1 acre of land, at the end of the season, it's not worth it at all.
Yeah.
I think so many visits.
If it was the 3 acres, it would have made sense. But for this season, we only have the 1 acre. So, and as I said, the other owner gave us the 2 acres for the other season because we didn't manage to plant anything. So do you think we should plant the next season?
No, that has to be, I'm not saying no or yes now, but I think it's something we really have to consider when you get to the next season.
Yeah.
It's a financial decision at that point. Because there's also another issue, I think, as you rightly said, telephone farming. There's a huge challenge on that, because like for this one that we've just shown you, somebody just called us and told us we've already it's called what?
We'd
already done weeding, and we need 2,500. We didn't negotiate. We had not told us they're going to weed or anything. They just called us and said we need 2,500. So you see, that's the challenge again with. And then I don't know how, if any of you has visited this area, but there's very high levels of poverty and very money circulation is very low. And so I think the locals there have formed, I don't know what to call it. It's like not even a cartel, but it's because they know most people there who are farming have leased land. So the cost of everything has gone up. The cost of tilling the land, the cost of weeding the land, the cost of a lot of other things is really way up than even here where we are.
Yeah, but lucky for us, we'll be having some extra piece of land just where we live. So even if at that time we make the decision not to go and till the land because it's a bit far away, at least we have some extra piece of land and we'll be taking you through that journey. We'll be able to see what will be growing on our new piece of land, just very close to where we live.
So as you said, the challenge of farming in a distance, it's going to be costly, either mentally, financially, and all that. And luckily, we've just inherited a piece of land, well, 50 meters from here, which is part of our inheritance, and it measures about 278 feet long, and then the width is on average about 75 feet. And so, yeah, that's why we thought it's probably going to be cheaper for us to do things right here where we are, where you can just walk and check on the progress, or if there's an issue, you can just sort it without having to fuel or just call someone. Yeah, and as you've always clearly stated, we are self-sufficiency farm. We're not a commercial farm, so we'll try to. Our main agenda here is to produce as much of our own food as possible. So we're going to try and make maximum use of that. And since we're not a commercial farm, I think a lot of our food will come from there.
Yeah, and we'll also use the farm to grow food for our animals. So it will be both for us and for our animals. The goats that we plan to keep, the already existing chicken, and ourselves. So they are part of our family. Yeah.
Yeah. We want to grow 90% of our food, if not 100%. A lot of food we want to grow or produce it from here. And so we have great plans. We are going to do, you've seen a video we've done, a dairy goat shed. We are planned to do sometime this year. We are going to do goats for meat.
Yeah.
We're going to do goats for meat. And we may also, that's all factors allowing, we are going to do pigs. Not for sale, for our own consumption. Again, it depends on how things go for this year. We have great plans for the year.
Yeah.
We hope you're going to achieve it.
Yeah. So this is the very first time we've leased land as a couple. So there are some things that we've learned during this process, and it's some factors that you need to consider before you lease land. So for example, you should consider the distance to the place, the type of soil in that area, the community. Are they friendly people or are they hostile towards, the way some communities are hostile towards other communities? Yeah, so those are some of the factors. What else?
Yeah, I think you've said them all. When you say people, I think you include things like cultural practices.
Yeah.
Because people use land for different aspects. For example, we just list land. The locals are not farming per se. I think their main economic activity is leasing land out and then keeping some cattle over there.
Yeah.
And so you have to consider all that, what you're growing, whether it even does well in that area, the kind of, in fact, yeah, you said you consider the place. The first thing is you also consider what you want to farm.
Yeah.
And then is that soil right for you? Because like where we list, there's part that is sandy where they grow groundnuts and all that, and there's a part that is black cotton where they grow maize and beans.
Yeah. And also whether it makes economic sense. Probably it makes more economic sense for you to buy the food instead of going to lease the land.
Yeah.
So that's another consideration that you can make. But overall, I think it was a good experience. It's a new place. I personally, I think it was a positive experience for me. It taught me a lot, even just mingling with the locals in that area. and seeing how different communities really are. It really taught me a lot.
Yeah, those are all the factors. You also have time on, as you said, somewhere you can actually easily access.
Oh yeah.
You can easily access as often as possible. Your presence is very important when you're leasing land. It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a long one. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your experience on leasing land in the comment section. As usual, it's always very good to engage with you in the comment section. We love hearing from you. And thank you for always supporting our channel.